Hello everybody, this is Mr. Ram and welcome back to another episode of the South Carolina Gamecocks Dynasty here on EA Sports College Football 25. As today we've reached Conference Championship week of the 2028 season. I know we've ran through this season and year 5 is almost already over, so buckle up because we still have some to go through. But I hope you guys are excited for this one. We're also going to find out today what bowl game we go to, what the playoff bracket looks like, and see how we close out the year. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. Obviously, we went 7-5, 5-3 in the SEC, so we did not make the SEC Championship game. But there's a lot on the line in the championship games this week. So let's take a look at what is on the docket for today. Starting off in the Conference USA Championship, Kennesaw State will face number 19 Western Kentucky at the Hilltoppers home stadium. This is a big season for Kennesaw State, only their 5th year in the FBS, and they've made the Conference USA Championship. They were ranked a couple of weeks ago before they lost, but not something to take lightly that the Owls have reached this point. Western Kentucky was for a long time the number 1 team in the Group of 5, but they've kind of fallen out with back-to-back losses. I don't think they get into the playoff with a win. I think there's too much that needs to happen in front of them for it to happen, specifically in the MAC championship game. So it's been a good year for the Hilltoppers, but I don't see this really having an effect. The Pac-12 championship at the Raiders' home at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Boise State will face number 8 Oregon State, who completed a perfect regular season, going 12-0. Still only the 8th seed, so the Beavers not necessarily getting all of the respect in the world. And it's kind of a big deal because Pac-12, because there's not 8 teams, they're not recognized as a true Group of 5 conference. Otherwise, the Oregon State Beavers would be the representative of that spot. So because of that, the other Group of 5 teams have had a lot to fight for. Oregon State can still get that large bid, which I think is going to happen. There's no reason they shouldn't be Boise State this week. So if they lose, then they might fall out because they're undefeated at the 8th spot. So I don't know what a loss will do for them. So a lot on the line for the Beavers. On the MAC championship on the Saturday slate, 2 ranked teams will do battle. Number 13 Bowling Green will face number 17 Central Michigan at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. This is probably the biggest Group of 5 game for a lot of reasons. One, Bowling Green is the higher seed, but they're not the highest ranked Group of 5 team. Number 10 North Texas is. Now, if North Texas loses and Bowling Green wins, I think that they get in no problem. But even if North Texas wins, Bowling Green, if they beat Central Michigan, will put a ranked win on their resume. That might be enough for them to overtake the Mean Green and make the playoff as the Group of 5 representative. Now, even if North Texas wins as well and Bowling Green does, maybe North Texas gets in as an at-large. So a lot is on the line in this game. And if Central Michigan wins, and if North Texas loses, I think they can make the playoff. Yes, 14 Arkansas State's ahead of them, but again, this is a marquee win. So a big game in the MAC championship that can have a lot of ties on the Group of 5. Going back to the Power 4, number 12 Kansas will face number 7 Utah. Thanks to Kansas' loss last week to Houston, this is a must-win game for them to make the playoff. Utah, I think, gets in even with the loss, but it's not a guarantee because of the Group of 5 and how some of them are being so highly ranked. The Utes might not get in with the loss, but I think Utah does handle this in Jerry's World in Arlington, Texas. Sun Belt Conference Championship, the Marshall Thundering Herd will face number 14 Arkansas State. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Arkansas State needs some things to happen. They need the polls to like them enough to put them over the MAC champion, especially if Central Michigan wins. And they need North Texas to lose, in my opinion, if they want to make it the playoff. They are at the home field as well, so that will help them. But of course, they got to win. The American Athletic Championship, Tulane will face number 10 North Texas at the Mean Green's field. Now, North Texas is the highest Group of 5 right now, but a lot can change. But the way they can guarantee their spot is if they win. I think if they beat Tulane, they honestly might be high enough, or even if they don't get the 4th or the 5th conference championship position, they could get in as an at-large team. So a lot to play for the Mean Green, but you got to win. The game of the week is going to take place in Georgia, in Atlanta to be specific, as number 4 Georgia takes on number 1 Auburn for the SEC Championship. Both these two teams have looked dominant this season. Auburn, the number 1 team in the land, they've put together 2 good seasons in a row, a force to be reckoned with in the conference, while Georgia's trying to get back to that national championship that they've been absent for quite some time. Big game for both these two teams. I honestly think whoever wins could be the 1 seed. Mountain West Championship, UNLV versus San Jose State at the Spartans Field. There's not really a lot on the line here, but of course, Conference Championship brings a lot of seniority. I don't know why UNLV has 4 conference games and San Jose State has 5, but oh well. In the Big Ten, number 6 Penn State will face number 15 Indiana. The Hoosiers lost this week to Purdue, their rivals, which has made this a do-or-die game for them if they want to make the playoff. Penn State, I think, gets in with a loss anyway, but a win will put them in a first-round bye. And it is in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indiana, so there's going to be a lot of Hoosiers in the venue. We'll see if that's enough to give them the victory. And then finally, at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, we have the ACC Championship, number 5 NC State, number 3 Miami. Like the SEC Championship game, the winner of this will probably get the first-round bye, and the loser will get an at-large spot. So a lot on the line of the conference championships. Let's go ahead and simulate ahead and see what happens in those games and figure out what bowl game the South Carolina Gamecocks will be attending. So we get a commit as well. 3-star guard Matthew Sneed from Conway, South Carolina will commit. Just add that to the plethora of right guards that we've gotten this season. So here's a look at how the conference championships played out. Western Kentucky did beat Kennesaw State, so they took care of business, but did enough happen for them to make the playoff. This definitely helped, though. Oregon State lost to Boise State. I predicted the Broncos at the beginning of the season to win the Pac-12. I didn't think it happened like this, and the Beavers have now fallen all the way to number 18, knocking them out of the college football playoff. That's heartbreak for Oregon State. In the MAC, it was Central Michigan that did get the victory, 27-20 over Bowling Green. You can see by the rankings. I don't know if they did enough to get in. I think Western Kentucky might have leapfrogged over the Chippewas. We'll have to see what the bracket thinks. Kansas did beat Utah, so the Jayhawks do make it after all. It got close, but they will make the playoff. In the Sun Belt, Marshall gets the victory, 38-21. The Red Bulls' chances at making the playoff are now over, and Marshall is your Sun Belt champions. In the AAC, North Texas does beat Tulane, so it looks like they will be the Group of 5 representative, moving up to the number 9 seed with the 14-9 victory. The game of the week, Georgia does beat Auburn. It looks like it was a good one, and the Bulldogs will take the number 1 spot. They essentially just flip spots in the rankings. So Georgia is the team to beat going into the playoff. The Mountain West, UNLV gets it done against San Jose State. So the Rebels were my prediction to win the Mountain West, and they get it done. The Big Ten, Penn State passes the test against the Hoosiers, clinching a first-round spot. And then the SEC or the ACC in a classic, Miami beats NC State by a point, making it to the playoff, getting a first-round bye, trying to defend their championship. So let's see how this shakes up the rankings, and then we'll see how this shakes up the college football playoff bracket after we go through. Here's a look at the rankings currently. As you can see, Georgia has gotten up to the number 1 spot. I do like how a lot of if you lose, you don't get punished that badly in the conference championship, unless you are Oregon State, of course. So we get another right guard commit to Earl Anthrop from Hawkinsville, Georgia. Will commit to the Gamecocks, just beefing up the line some more. And on the defensive side, we get Charles Finger from Fort Wayne, Indiana, a 4-star defensive end. And then we also get Jamerson Moffitt, a 3-star guard, right guard from Marietta, Georgia. We're going to have a lot of offensive line depth going into next season. Terrence Avery of Lugoff, South Carolina, the 3-star defensive tackle, will commit as well. A good week for the recruiting. As far as the awards, Ryan Puglisi will win the Heisman this season. 4,300 yards, 47 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Back in the starting role as he leads Georgia to the 1 seed and will be your Heisman. As far as our awards, we get Abena Nwuka as SEC, or the Defensive Player of the Year award, not even SEC. He gets the actual defensive. 15 sacks. He is now the career leader at the Gamecocks in career sacks. I know some of those came at West Virginia, but that's what it says in the record books. As we look on, he also gets, of course, Best Defensive End Award. I mean, if you win the Best Defensive Player, you're going to get the Best Defensive End as well. And then Wade Mann is your best running back for the 2nd straight season. 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. I honestly tried to take it easier on this season, but he just was so good. It's just hard to do that. Mazio Bennett is your special teams returner with 3 total touchdowns. Not surprised there. Abena Nwuka also wins the Lombardi Trophy Award, so we had a lot of award winners. As far as our bowl game this season, we will be going to the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. a new sort of place. So that's good to see. We will not be going back to Nashville. Instead, we're going to head to Florida to play the number 25 ranked Purdue Boilermakers. That's exciting as we get to see a new field and a new bowl game for the first time in this series. As we look at the playoff bracket, what does it look like? Here it is. Georgia, your 1 seed. Miami, Penn State, and Kansas all get first round byes, so the Jayhawks do get that 4th spot as a conference champion. North Texas gets in as the 9. We'll see Notre Dame versus Wisconsin, a 5 versus 12. Notre Dame would get a first round bye if they just played in a conference for the 2nd straight season. Washington plays North Texas. Arkansas versus Auburn, and we'll see Utah and NC State. I like this field. I think this is a good college football playoff bracket. A lot of these teams, all these teams deserve to get in. Maybe not. Well, actually, I say that. Why is Wisconsin in there? They're 7-5. They got in as the 12 seed. So I lied. Not all these teams deserve it. There's a polar bear in the playoff brackets, but nonetheless, hopefully they lose to Notre Dame. But we get to this we know what bowl we're going to play in now. We're playing against Purdue. We'll take a look at their roster before we close it out. As Purdue, they're a solid team. They made it to the Big Ten Championship last year. They probably had high aspirations this year. Didn't fully meet that, but this is still a talented team. I do think they are a step below us, though, so I do think this is a winnable game for the Gamecocks, and I'd like to finish with 8 wins on the season and end it at least on a strong note. Send our seniors out happy, as this hasn't been the season that we expected either. But we can end it with a win as we take on Purdue in the Citrus Cheez-Its Bowl. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see that in the next episode. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.